In this demonstration you will learn how to create a nested grid for the navigation of the customer's application to solve another layout issue. Let's switch to the application and let me show you the problem. Here in the customer's application you can see the navigation on the left side. Now what I want is that this list view here takes the full space that is available. So I want to stretch it actually vertically so that it uses here the full height that is available. Now let's stop the application and let's look at this code in the main window SAML file that I have already open here. Let's scroll down in this file. Here you can see the stack panel that defines the navigation on the left side. It contains a stack panel with the 3 buttons, so let me collapse this one, and beside this stack panel it contains a list view with 3 list view items. Now the plan is to stretch this list view. But the problem is, this outer stack panel is actually a vertical stack panel. The orientation property is by default vertical if it is not set. This means it gives every element just the height it needs. That means when you set on that list view, for example, the vertical alignment property to center, it won't have any effect. As the list view just gets the height that it needs to display these 3 items, setting vertical alignment to any value does not change anything. So when you run the application, you can see it still looks the same. You can think about this, that the list view just has this height here from the stack panel available. So the list view, of course, cannot move around vertically. So setting the vertical alignment property has no effect in that vertical stack panel. Instead of using here a stack panel, you can use a grid and you could put this list view into a star-sized grid row. This is actually the solution to this problem. So let's create here a grid and then on that grid let's set the row definitions property. We have 2 elements, a stack panel and a list view, so you need to define 2 row definitions. On the first row definition, let's set the height property to auto, and on the second row definition, let's use a value of 1 star. You can also set it here to auto, and then you have exactly the same effect as with the vertical stack panel. Let me show you this in action. Before we run the application, let's set on the list view the grid row property to 1 to move it into the second row of the grid. Now let's run the application and you can see everything looks exactly the same as before. But now let's go back to Visual Studio and I just keep the application running. Let's set on the second row definition the height property to 1 star so that it takes the leftover space. As this is the default value, you can also just omit this property. Now let me bring up the application again, and now you see the list view is using the leftover space, exactly what we want. So now this navigation looks good. In the next clips, you will learn how to set attached properties in SAML and in C# so that you can move this navigation at runtime to the other side of the main window.